Dr. Malcolm Brenner will give, from the Office of Aviation Safety, will give the next presentation, Improve Crew Resource Management.
Good afternoon. In December 2003, the Safety Board issued Recommendation A0352. It asked the FAA to require all on-demand charter operators that conduct dual pilot operations under Part 135 regulations to implement an FAA-approved crew resource management training program for their pilots in accordance with Part 121 standards. Training in crew resource management, or CRM, provides pilots with techniques to improve crew coordination, manage workload, make effective use of resources in normal operations and problem solving, and mitigate errors before they affect safety of flight. CRM has proven beneficial in its approach to improving flight human factors and is a cornerstone of contemporary system safety programs. It should be noted that CRM training has been required for all Part 121 operators since March 1998. In addition, pilots operating under Part 91 Subpart K, also known as fractional operations, are required to have received training in CRM. The recommendation resulted from several fatal accidents of Part 135 on-demand charter operators in which deficient crew performance was a factor. These included the October 2002 crash in Eveleth, Minnesota that killed 8 people, including Senator Paul Wellstone. That accident resulted from the pilot's failure to maintain airspeed during an instrument approach, an indication that the pilots had not effectively applied crew resource management techniques. The Safety Board continues to investigate accidents involving Part 135 on-demand operators in which deficient crew performance is a factor. Examples include the November 2004 crash of a business jet during takeoff in Montrose, Colorado, the November 2004 crash of a business jet during approach into Houston, Texas, the February 2005 crash during an aborted takeoff of a business jet in Teterboro, New Jersey, shown here, and the June 2007 crash of a business jet near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that killed the pilots and a medical transplant team from the University of Michigan. The Safety Board is currently investigating crew performance issues in 2 recent business jet accidents at Owatonna, Minnesota, and Columbia, South Carolina, that together resulted in an additional 12 fatalities and 2 serious injuries. None of these operators had implemented a CRM program or one as comprehensive as would be required under Part 121 standards. In April 2004, the FAA stated that an aviation rulemaking committee was reviewing changes to Part 135, including requiring CRM training for on-demand operators, and a Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, or NPRM, was scheduled to be released in 2005. This did not occur, nor was the NPRM forthcoming during the following years. In November 2006, the Safety Board added this recommendation to its most wanted list and classified this recommendation open unacceptable response. In the past year, in May 2009, the FAA did issue the NPRM. The proposed rule would require initial and recurrent CRM training for all Part 135 crew members, applying to operators that conduct single pilot operations as well as those that conduct dual pilot operations, thus exceeding the scope of Recommendation A0352. The proposed rule would also specify the minimum course content required of an approved CRM training program. The Safety Board supports both proposals. However, the proposed rule exempts operators from providing initial CRM training to crew members who had previously received CRM training from another Part 135 operator. Such an allowance would not be consistent with CRM requirements for Part 121 operators and would not reflect the wide range of operational environments, applications, aircraft and automation capabilities, and crew complements present among different Part 135 operations. Recommendation A0352 was reclassified by the Safety Board in December 2009 as open acceptable response pending issuance of a final rule without an exemption for pilots with previous CRM training. To achieve the intent of this recommendation, the FAA needs to establish a requirement for Part 135 on-demand operators to implement a CRM training program in accordance with the CRM training requirements of Part 121. This completes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Member Sumwalt.
Well, I think given my interest in CRM, no one is going to believe that I don't have any questions or comments. But I am glad that the FAA is moving forward through at least going through the rulemaking process. Thank you.
Vice Chairman.
Regarding our recommendation AO352, did it also contemplate recurrency in addition to initial training? So there would be periodic recurrency?
It is anticipated. We wanted an approved program in accordance with Part 121 standards, and we would, I believe, we'd consider a recurrency as well as initial. Yes.
And it just occurs to me that to the extent there is recurrency associated with it, that not including pilots who have already had it with a previous 135 operator, they would still be then covered by the recurrency part. Is that a fair statement? In other words, it's not that they're going to be out of it altogether. They're just not there until their next recurrency.
They'd be delayed. Yes, they would. At some point, they would get training in that company's procedures.
What kind of frequency might such a recurrency have? That may be a rhetorical question.
I would like to research it, but I'm going to say about every year, I believe. But let me check the requirements.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that this is another example of the creep. I recall when we added this issue to the list in 2006, we almost felt convinced that we were going to be able to take it off within a year because in 2005 they thought the publication of the NPRM was imminent. So I think it's taken longer than anyone expected. I think we thought this was going to have a short stay on the most wanted list. It's still there. We're not taking it off since the rule hasn't been finalized. But my question to you, Dr. Brenner, was what is the expectation for when the FAA might finish reviewing the comments and finalize the rule? And then once the rule is final, what's the implementation, the adoption, the phase-in?
I can't speak to that, Madam Chairman. I do not know. We can research as best we can. Okay. We were very grateful to see the elephant come out of the elephant graveyard. And,
yeah.
Especially in this area where everyone agrees on it. It seems it makes sense. The guidance is already in place for Part 121. So I'm a little bit unable to address the FAA's thinking, but we will research and can get back to you.
Well, I too hope that this is another issue like Ms. Rowlett's runway crossing issue that they can push across the finish line this year to, at least have a phase-in implementation, a timetable, a schedule for this to get done. I think, all of us, when we watch that recitation, that list of accidents that you recite where CRM was an issue, all of those are 135 accidents. That was quite a long list, and most of that's happened during my time at the board. And so this really is an issue that needs to be implemented. It's not that difficult. They know how to do this. And in fact, most of the 135 operators that I've talked to, many of them participated in the advisory committee process. They were fairly unanimous about how this should be implemented. And so I think this seemed to be a situation where the FAA let something that was fairly straightforward and simple get co-opted by a bigger process and trying to address a lot of other issues, and it got stuck. So hopefully they'll finish this, and we'll be able to take it off the list next year. Is there a staff proposal for action?
There is. The staff recommends that the issue area remain on the most wanted list and its timeliness designation be changed to yellow to reflect the FAA's recent action and notice of proposed rulemaking.
So moved.
Second. All in favor signal with the hand and aye. Aye. The issue area remains on the list and retains a designation of yellow. Changes. The color code is changed to yellow. Next issue.
Yes, Dr. Jana Price is